Hey guys, this is Josh Albert, GetChimpy, aka Fasted Chimpy. Just doing a quick video log for you guys on how my 3-day fast went. So I did 68 hours, just a couple hours short of the 72-hour mark for 3 days. And I was going to write a little bit of a blog on this, but I think it'd be better and quicker if I did a little video blog. Let me just say that this was probably the best fast I've ever done in my 3 days. Just 3-day fast at least. My body just did not have any problem doing it. Some days, every fast is a little different, and some are tougher than others. You have different things going on with your body, or maybe your diet was different prior to the fast, or there's different, too much salt, too little salt. So the biggest thing that's been helping me, I did a 2-day fast a couple weeks ago, and the biggest thing is, I've said it a lot, but even I have to be reminded of this lesson, is just hydrating. Making sure you drink enough water. And I didn't do as much salt this time. Last 2 times I haven't done nearly as much salt, but really staying on top of my hydration. I find that I feel the best when I'm peeing every half an hour and it's clear. Before I was a big proponent of trying to put a lot of salt in, making sure I wasn't going to get salt. But actually, the less salt I did, I still put some salt in my water, but I wasn't putting tablespoons in several times a day. Maybe a little bit in there. Actually, it worked out better for me. Maybe I needed less water overall to balance out that salt. So maybe I wasn't losing as much salt as I thought I was. And I would also preemptively hydrate, knowing that I would probably be dehydrated in an hour or two, based on how my body felt. So the first day was really easy. First day, just getting your head around not eating. That's usually what the first day is for me. It's okay, yeah, I can do this. It's not too late to back out. No, it's okay. And I didn't have any kind of hunger pains. I just hydrated and had that intention. And that's something I really want to talk about, is that for me, fasting is a great way to refocus my intentions on what I need to do. Sometimes I get a little out of whack, or maybe my patterns are off, my sleeping patterns, behavioral patterns, thinking patterns, whatever. There's human beings are dynamic, and you're not a stable painting. You're not just a static picture of this is who you are. Things happen, things go back and forth. So I found that fasting is a great way to just kind of hit the reset button and have some intention. And it's super easy to do in the sense of you just don't eat. So it's not like I have to go to some retreat, or I have to go do some really inconvenient thing that's out of the way. For me, it's just very simple of developing that discipline and that momentum and doing something very direct and intentional, and it has a lot of benefits for myself. So the first day was really easy. Just did some movement stuff, did some mobility work. I did some cardio on the bike, about 30 minutes at about 130 heart rate beats per minute. Nothing too strenuous. And I coached some people throughout the day and spent some time outside, and got really good sleep. I've noticed that when I'm fasting, I tend to wake up way earlier, about half an hour to an hour earlier. And then the second day, I felt great. I woke up in the morning, was a little sluggish, so I hydrated, made sure I hydrated a lot, went to the sauna and the steam bath and the cold plunge just to get the body nice and relaxed. And then I went and worked outside, did my own gymnastics workout at 100% volume, so pretty strenuous body weight training with a lot of reps, a lot of tension and volume. At this point, about 40 hours fasted. Did that for about 2 hours, and then continued to train some people outside. So I got a lot of blue light, which was great. A lot of blue light from the sun, a lot of vitamin D, feeling really good, and having a lot of inspiration and momentum coming from this fast. And then later on that day, I worked a little bit more, and then I finished the second day off with the Kundalini yoga class. So for those of you who don't know, Kundalini yoga is a very, I call it meditation for the spine. It's a lot of intention, a lot of in place, eyes closed, a lot of inner focused. And that was probably the best yoga class I've had ever, just in general. I mean, whether it's all the types of yoga, that Kundalini class was amazing. I think because my body at that point was about 48 hours fasted, did not have anything to worry about digesting, and I was really able to get in my lower gut, particularly with the breath of fire, which is a very low belly dominant breath movement. And because of that, I was just able to have these pretty incredible experiences with my eyes closed. I just felt my body dissolve into reality and become that oneness. And as far as I'm concerned, it was a pretty powerful psychedelic experience in the middle of class. And I just had great energy. I wasn't hungry at all. Not even thinking about food. Really happy with how I did it. and I just went to bed super early for me. It was around 8:30, 9 o'clock, where I usually go to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Went to bed, woke up today around 5:30. I usually wake up around 6:30 to 7:30, but lately with these fasts, I just think I need less sleep because I have more energy and because your adrenaline goes up. And today, Catherine and I did a photo shoot. So not that I was planning to do it right as the photo shoot was happening. Usually I try to start a 3-day fast in the beginning of the month, and we had our friends Philip and Martina came over on Sunday, and we ate a bunch of arepas and carbs, but good carbs, if there's such a thing. There is such a thing, but we ate a lot of like these corn tortillas and guacamole. It was great food, but I knew I wanted to kind of give myself a little break, a digestion break after that. So it all kind of gelled together. And this morning we did a photo shoot with our photographer Patrick, and we did it for Virus Clothing. They sent us some really cool gear, and we just got to take some pictures and send it to them. So I spent about 5 or 6 hours doing yoga poses, body weight training, like strenuous stuff, and I felt great. Just needed some water, some salt, and I took a little bit of a pre-workout, which had about 50 calories in it, just some vasodilators, and a little bit of carbs. But at that point, I feel like those things are pretty negligible. If you do it around your workout, you can burn them off. So I didn't feel like it interrupted my fast at all. Just gave me that little boost, had some creatine in it, and was able to finish this fast really strong. And then I came home, and to break my fast, I want to try something different today. I want to kind of see if I'm actually going to go vegan for the rest of the day. Just me, I'm not really going to try to have any crazy sources of protein as far as like really heavy. I love meat, I eat it all the time, but just kind of seeing if I can tweak playing around with easing back into eating. That's a big one for me. Is I've had times where I'll eat a ton of food. Like I'll break my fast, a 3-day fast, and I'll have like a handful of nuts an hour before, which is great, and then I'll have a lot of food, and usually my stomach is not like that. It just feels really tight, and it feels like I could do a better job with that. So now I'm going to probably tonight I'm going to have a green smoothie or a green salad, ton of like maybe a big avocado in there as well, and just a lot of veggies, and then tomorrow I'll transition to more eating. And one of the things I wanted to get across in this video was I feel really good about my diet in the last 3 or 4 months, like just really honing it in all year, just not really having any kind of crazy amounts of carbohydrates, mostly low carb eating, but allowing some space to have a little bit more carbs, but not allowing that to trigger any kind of cravings, because I love sugar, I love pancakes and things like that, so it's really easy for me to get on that train, and I work out enough I can kind of get away with it, but at the same time my body will ache and it just doesn't run as well. So if I can stick to just more meats and vegetables and whole foods, it's going to be a lot easier, and my body's going to run better, and still having that time to indulge and enjoy high quality food with friends. And so kind of taking that all into consideration, I also look at the body as like, it's a metabolic process, right? The ability to keep you running and keep you moving, your metabolism, like it's what we call an oxidative process. It has what's called oxidative stress or damage. And you need some stress in your body so that you can become resilient to that stress, right? Stress, too little stress, you don't evolve, you don't become stronger. Too much stress, you get overwhelmed, you don't recover, and you start to break down. But even if you're doing the things right, like sleep, good nutrition, managing your relationships, good community, good exercise, things like that, the body still builds up. Right? I'm trying to think of different analogies how I can think about this and how I can explain it to people, but it's like, think of it like a brake on a car and the rotors and the pads, and you're using the pads, even if you're using them correctly, over time, 10, 20, 30,000 miles, you're going to develop a lot of dust, right, on the rotor around the rim, because the brakes are just being used, and when they get used, it gets a little bit of dust comes out. I feel like that is the way with metabolism. So even though I believe I'm doing the right things, sometimes you just need to have that reset and take a break from digestion, allow your body to kind of find its natural rhythm without having to deal with food or anything from the outside, except for water. And that's when you start to get the process like you've heard me talk about. It's all over the internet with fasting, things like autophagy, which is basically cell recycling and your body's breaking down of old cells for raw materials to help build into the new cells. And one other thing I wanted to talk about. So going into that, I really think that it's just a nice, even if you're doing the right things, if you don't have any kind of crazy medical conditions, and if you're not super underweight, and there's not some big obvious reason why you shouldn't do it, I find personally that fasting is a great reset, not just mentally but also physically. A good way to reset insulin sensitivity. A good way to kind of reset, let the gut just reset and come back to normal. And now I feel like I'm better apt to absorb food. Even if I'm doing the right things, I just feel that sometimes in my body, maybe it's a couple weeks, maybe it's every other month, it's just going to feel better if it has a break from all that kind of stuff. And then I can just focus on healing inside. And the kind of training that I do, a lot of gymnastic stuff, but I move a lot throughout the day. I'm very, as you see in this video, very fidgety. All that kind of stuff has wear and tear on the body. And the better you can accumulate, better you can accommodate that and plan for that, I think the better your performance is going to be. And one other thing about fasting, what was the last thing I wanted to talk about? Just in general, I think it's a great way to reset intentions, as I mentioned before. It's a good way to reset the body, and overall, I've had a great experience with this fast. So my big takeaways are plenty of water. You hear a lot of people say it, and I'm saying it, and I need to be reminded of it because it makes the process way easier. Is plenty of water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I find that it's best when I'm peeing again every half an hour. Just clear, because I just know that, wow, like I know I got enough water, and I'm going to keep putting that water in. And I know I have enough fat on me. Okay, my body has enough fat. I intellectually know this. It has enough fat to run for maybe several weeks, or at least definitely several days. So I know that. I just need to make sure that I'm putting the water in there. And you know what? It's not about feeling bad. I've definitely pushed my way through some longer fasts, even 2-day fasts. My longest is like a 6.5 day. And I pushed my way through that where it's like, man, I was feeling nauseous and I wasn't feeling good, but I had a predetermined goal that I wanted to get through. And I white knuckled it at points, and I got through it, but probably stressed my body out a little bit too much trying to go through it. So this year I've been really working on like trying to actually stop when I can keep going a little bit. It's like I'm leaving some in the tank. So I felt like I didn't really need to eat today. I could have kept going. But I felt like I accomplished a lot what I wanted to, which was like reset my intentions, get this photo shoot done, give my body a break to heal. And once I was done with that, I was like, cool, I did what I needed to do, and maybe I'll do it in a couple weeks and reset with that. What does definitely help is eating avocados before. Avocados have a lot of potassium. So if you can eat 1 or 2 avocados several days before you fast, it will kind of help you transition into going through ketosis and possibly losing some salt as you sweat a lot. And that's usually a big reason why people feel bad. That's one of many reasons why people might feel fasts are really hard, in addition to the detoxing process. Which brings me up to something else. My really good friend Philip Chubb from the Mindful Movers, him and I were talking on Sunday about, he was getting a nutritional consultation from one of his mentors. I can't remember his name, but basically it was a really interesting conversation. He was talking about how a lot of diets work for people, whether they're paleo, low carb, vegan, you name it, vegetarian, high carb, carb cycling, all that kind of stuff, high protein, low protein, whatever. How a lot of these diets can work because basically the body has two types of eating phases, overfed and underfed. And there's also normal fed as well. But typically people are going to be in one or the other. So, and there's advantages to both. When you have overfed, you're going to have more things like protein synthesis. You're going to have lower cortisol levels. You're going to have more energy. Likewise, when you're underfed, you're going to go through things like detoxification, better insulin sensitivity, more catabolic for body fat. And this is just assuming that this is going through the right amount. However, if you're too long in one, like if you're too long in overfeeding, your insulin sensitivity can go down. Your body can start to break down because it's not going through this detoxification process. Likewise, if you're going through underfeeding too long, you can get catabolic as far as like losing muscle. If your macros are messed up, or if you're too lean or you're underweight, your body will start to chew its muscle up. Another thing is too high cortisol levels, too high adrenaline and things like that when you're underfed. So a lot of times these diets work because people are actually in one or the other and they're flipping. And they've been in that first one for too long and they flip into the other one and they say, oh wow, I feel better. It's like, I was eating all this food and now I'm going vegan, and they coincidentally they're in a little bit lower calorie for a little bit, and their body has kind of had a chance to switch over to maybe detoxification or vice versa. They weren't eating enough and they're running their adrenal glands pretty hard, and they were going through too much of their body, and now they feel like crap. And they started eating more because they switched to a higher protein diet or like a paleo diet or something like that, and they feel great. So understanding the principles of that and knowing that our body, our genetics have gone through, they expect some kind of underfeeding. It's really easy to overfeed in this type of environment. If you live in a pretty abundant society, it's very easy to overfeed, right? You don't have a break from that. So I think that's why, like, Sunday I had a feast, right? And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I had a fast. And that's why I think it's a great balance to have that. So just being mindful of some days you're going to go through periods maybe of eating too much, overeating, in a good way. Hopefully it's good food. And then you need to follow with some days of undereating as well. Or just, it doesn't have to be day-by-day basis. Just start thinking about that in terms of eating enough, eating a little bit more, knowing that you're also going to eat a little bit less. So the body loves variability. And the more variability you can add, all of these systems, weight training variability. I don't know if there's variability in sleeping. I would think that you just want to get good quality sleep all the time. That might change, and some hours you might need, some days you might need 8 hours of sleep, some days you might need 6 hours of sleep, some days you might need 10 hours of sleep, but you want more variability in your life because nature favors diversity. As we see all the time, the most successful biodiverse systems, or the most successful ecosystems, have a lot of biological diversity. It also happens in your gut. The more biodiversity you have in your gut, the different strains of bacteria you have, typically the better off and the more resilient your gut's going to be. So I hope I didn't go on too long. It's actually saving more time than having to write a blog about it. And I hope you guys found it useful. If you find it useful, please feel free to share it. Leave me some comments either on my Instagram page at GetChimpy or at FastedChimpy. FastedChimpy is where I just post all my fasted stuff only. Feel free to do it on this YouTube channel, and let me know what you guys think. Thank you.